you've seen him on Veronica Mars, Without a Trace. He's made Lafayette into such a fan favorite that now people ask him to call him Hooker. It is Nelsan Ellis. How you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Next, we've got, you've seen her on Seinfeld and Desperate Housewives. Her character Pam is the co-owner of Fantasia, and I suspect she's the one who really runs the place. Kristin Bauer Van Stratton. Good morning.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Is it the morning?
For some of us.
Right, I think most of you.
And finally, you've seen him on Medium, Law and Order, and Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. He may have logged more time on screen naked than anyone else in the series. Everybody. I want to start out, you were talking about Comic-Con the first year before anybody knew what the show was. And I was thinking about that. Tell me a little bit, before you even filmed the first episode, why did you all decide to get involved with the show?
I think as the script on the cover page said Alan Ball and HBO. Yeah, that was pretty much. You know, it was funny. Like it was a really hot script in Los Angeles. Everybody wanted to get involved with it. You know, it was vampires, and it was Alan Ball, and he had done 6 Feet Under, and of course, you know, he did American Beauty. And you know, I just wanted a job too. I mean, honestly, it wasn't like I was like, well, here's a pile of scripts. You know, which movie do I want to do? You know. So I was, but this was definitely, it was. I remember it being a hot property from the very beginning.
I missed that whole thing. I don't know where I was, but I missed the whole thing. I hadn't heard about it. I didn't know what it was, and then I guess probably when you guys were filming episode 3. Now you shot the pilot, and then there was a break in between, and the strike happened.
Oh yeah, we shot the pilot, and then you have to see if the pilot gets picked up. So then it got picked up and we started shooting. We shot 2 more episodes, and then there was the writer's strike. I don't know if you all remember that. Yeah. Do you have any writers in here that were on strike? So yeah, and then we didn't even know for sure if it was going to come back after the writer's strike. I'm pretty sure. But then so it was really shocking.
And when I came on episode 4, so it was just for me, one of the ways that I've kept whatever sanity I've left it being in this business is that I try to know nothing about what I'm reading for. Because I don't really want it to get attached and then not get it. Then I have this loss. So when I tell my people to tell me nothing. But I couldn't miss the vampire and Alan. Like that's pretty much all I knew. And I went in, I read, and then they called me back a month later, I read again. And then I went to the Philippines they're coming for you. They heard about last night.
Wait, what's going on?
Did you hear the siren?
Oh, the siren.
Hi, Sam. And so then when I came on episode 4, you know, I was just off the plane from the Philippines shooting this other thing, and that was hilarious. And you guys had known each other for a year on the set. And I was like, what is this show? I told this yesterday, but I was so out of it that there was a line Alex had in Swedish, and for some reason I asked him, are you speaking Cambodian? And that's all I just remember how that's a really big top blonde dude.
You're out of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just needed my next job. I didn't have another prospect with him, so I took it. can't be the pilot. I was like, I don't know where this is gonna go. But it came out great.
In terms of actors, you've got so much talent on this show. Do you find each other learning from each other while you're working?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this yesterday in one of the panels. I mean, I'm such a fan of so many of the actors on the show. There's so many different kinds of actors and so many different kinds of people on the show, and just watching everyone. Like you this year have been so, I mean, you're always incredible, but it's blowing me away this year. Like amazing. And we were just talking about like how my favorite actor is always changing on the show, always, because everybody's so good in different ways.
Well, if you play sports, athletes always say, if you play somebody who's really good, it ups your game, because it just raises the level. And that's what happens, and especially this year for me with Dennis O'Hare. Because he really, I thought I was a pretty good actor, and then I get in a scene with him, and I'm like, oh boy, I better go do some research or something, because he works with a dialect coach, he has the whole history, 3,000 years of his character. He's an astounding man to do a scene with, so it really raises your game.
Yeah, I'm a big old thief. I just
Yeah.
steal from my castmates all the time. I watch every episode, and I'm calculating because I'm watching to see what everybody's doing and what's good about it. I'm like, I'm gonna flip it and use that. It's great to work with people who make you seem small, because then you're always learning from them to improve yourself. And that's what I do with this cast.
Some people get into acting, they're born to do it, Their earliest memories are performing for their family and friends, and they know their whole lives that's exactly what they want to do. Other people get into it more in kind of a sideways kind of way. They stumble into it. How did you all get into acting?
Yeah, I didn't know.
I mean, actually, like, thinking back when I was a kid, I did used to do impersonations of, like, neighbors when they came over, I guess. When I was, like, 3 years old, my mom told me I used to do that. But I never, ever dreamed of being an actor. I didn't even know it existed. Like, I came from really small towns, and, like, there was no theater. I never went to the movies that much. But then but I was always a musician, and then I went to college, and this friend of mine who was a musician now, who was an actor then, said, oh, you should audition for this new plays festival. We need a bunch of actors. And this was my second semester of senior year of college. And I did a play, and it was such a high doing it. And it was so fun and so interesting, like figuring out character, and that I just fell in love with it, and that's how I got into it. But it was very last minute.
Yeah, mine was, I was just hungry, because I'd gone to college for fine art, which, looked to me like kind of a life of being fairly poor and alone, because you're in a room by yourself just drawing. I just like to draw. So I was a nanny, I was a window washer. I lived in Boston, I sold jewelry on the carts downtown in the winter. I moved to LA because it was warm. I remember that I went to visit LA, and I was so astounded that every single apartment complex had laundry in the building. I thought that was the most awesome thing I'd ever seen, because in Boston, in the weather, on the subway, I'd have to go to the laundromat, and their laundromats never had, when you put your dollar in, it would never take your dollar. And you're trying to get it flat forever, and then they never were full of quarters. And I came to LA, and there was this, in every building, this incredible laundry in the basement where it took your dollar. And that was kind of how I decided. And then I moved to LA.
Wherever the dollars were taken.
Yeah, I was like, this is so convenient. And I love the weather, Boston was hard. So then I get there, and I'm going to keep doing the same kind of crappy jobs for money. And someone on the street said, hey, you want to be in a movie? What do you pay? And it was like more than my 4 jobs or whatever, and so I did some extra work in this thing. And it was fun being around people all day, not by myself, and getting a paycheck.
Well, like, damn, I'm from a small town. I'm from Bessemer, Alabama. We got, well, you can attest, we got chickens and dogs. And we call the movies the theater. We just didn't have arts of any kind. I went to stay with my father in Chicago, and I sort of was doing some stuff in high school, in which my father thought acting was the devil. He's like, you picking up them spirits.
Have you seen the show?
What did you think about Kristin?
I don't know, you don't watch it too often. And when you do, you throw less oil at the screen. Yes. Lord
The show has such a huge fandom online, so many blogs, websites, wikis. Do you ever find yourself reading any of that?
I did. Well, first of all, I'm on Twitter. So you guys can find me on Twitter, Bauer von Stratton, if you're on there, because I'm having a blast on there. And I figured that everyone who finds me on there is probably going to be fairly friendly. But so I look at those. But the first season, I just wanted to see if anyone was talking about Pam. So, well, I put in Pam, and I saw pages, and I thought, okay, good. And I heard this little voice in my head that said, walk away. And I ignored it. So I clicked on the first page, and I caught, it said something about, doesn't Kristin Bauer look like Angelina Jolie? And I thought, oh, that's good. And I clicked on it, and right below, it said, the response was, no, Kristin Bauer is blonde and heavier. So I went from really high to really low to medium because everyone's heavier than Angelina Jolie. So I still feel pretty good, but I learned.
Yeah, is that when you, I don't even know, is that when you go on like the Wiki page? Like,
Oh yeah, that I don't know.
I don't think I've ever, well, I'm scared. I'm
You
scared.
should be.
I mean, I like, because you never remember the good things as an actor. Like if you read your reviews or something, you always remember the one bad thing. So I'm just kind of scared. I stay away.
Regina got me hooked first.
Really?
Regina came to me and she said, Nelsan, they're saying that we're like buffoons. And I said, who? And she was like, and she came over to my house and we went to the page. And now I don't do it. She comes to me, she's like, Nelsan, they're saying I'm like Regina, I don't really want to see it. The first season, every time the show aired, I would run to the computer. And Regina called me, did you see on this page? They grouped me and Regina up in the first season, so they would talk about Lafayette Reynolds. Now we've since divided, but no, I don't look at it anymore. It's bad stuff.
Some of the scenes on the show are just profoundly emotional, profoundly beautiful, but then some of the scenes are just profoundly disgusting. Like whenever the vampire gets staked, or I'm thinking about the scene where Lafayette was in the dungeon and had to use a severed leg to escape. What's it like filming those kind of scenes?
I mean, you know, the nasty blood side and being in the nasty dungeon, but all that extreme stuff is fun. I find it fun.
Yeah, I always want to get more blood on me. Is it sticky? Do they use the non-sticky blood?
There's non-sticky
There's decaffeinated blood?
diet.
Diet blood?
The sticky blood that tears your flesh.
Yes.
Yeah, when your flesh comes together and peels apart, it actually tears your flesh.
I fed on you. I just remembered I fed on you.
That's right.
Because I was thinking, why is the first take, what the director said, like, because there was Nelsan's body on the couch, and there was myself, Alex, and the actor who plays Chow, and we were just supposed to do things and come in and so action, and we went and we did it, but the camera was up above filming down, and we had to put blood in our mouth, and then so it would drip out on you, and they could maybe see part of it running out, and so they said cut, and we heard all this giggling from, we call it Video Village, where the directors and the producers are, and then the director said, we just have to figure out how to make it not look like Eric is blowing. Because Alex is in the middle, so we just went 3 people on a body. And then we moved our heads like we were eating.
Sam, I thought Alex was purposely going for my crotch. I thought he was going after his crotch.
I think he might. The thigh, you know, we do the armpit, the thigh, and I don't know. He's Swedish.
It's European. Different languages, different money.
The character of Sam Trammell.
Oh, not get me in trouble, you guys. What happens at Dragoncon stays? Who's videoing this?
I think we're on TV. I think we're on DC TV.
I actually learned to read, that's it.
The character of Sam Trammell, we've seen some of his backstory. We know that he was abandoned at 15 and kind of had to learn to steal to survive. Then later we see that he turns into a killer, a murderer, a professional thief. And then later he's the bar owner who is complaining that he's too nice to everyone. Do you think we're going to see more of his backstory and find out how he's kind of made these different transitions to different personalities over his life?
Well, yeah, I hope so. I think that's one of the things that I like most about my character is that we don't really know what happened from 15 until he got to Fandom, and that was a good amount of time, and he somehow amassed a fair amount of money, you know, to buy the bar and the apartment building. And so, I mean, I loved getting to do the flashback because it was just a different kind of thing, but I hope we do some more, you know, flashbacks, and hopefully when we do the flashbacks, it's old enough that I get to play the part, because that little kid got to play a lot of, he got some really good scenes, and I was like, I want those scenes. And he got to have sex with Mary Ann, yeah. So hopefully, I mean, I love that. I love the flashback stuff, so I'd like to do a lot more.
Did you want to do that sex scene with me?
I don't know. Sure, yes. If I can say that.
On the show, early on, we had Terry, and he had post-traumatic stress disorder, but was kind of played a little bit for comedy. But then in the second season, Lafayette gets kidnapped and put in this dungeon, and suddenly he's got it too, but it's a very scary, very real kind of thing. Tell me about filming that. Tell me about acting that idea of Lafayette suffering post-traumatic stress disorder after being kidnapped and tortured.
I didn't like it. I didn't. I was like, where's the fun, Lafayette? There's the fun. And one of the writers, producers, Wu said, well, every character has to be flipped in True Blood. So, I mean, it was, I didn't like it, but it was fun exploring other sides of Lafayette's humanity. I mean, what do I know? I'm just an actor. The writers and the producers are brilliant. And Alan Ball, of course, is a god among men. So it was fun, and it works to the betterment of the character.
You did such a great performance. What were you drawing upon for that?
I don't know. I think I was just acting.
All right, well, we're going to take some audience questions. We'll start over there with Ichabod. have people with microphones. And while we're waiting, Kristin, we will stare at each other. And Kristin, you were talking yesterday about meeting your husband. And when you first met him, I think he probably knew more about you from the show than the real you. What was that like? Did he confuse you with Pam in any way?
No, he didn't know the show. You know, he's from South Africa, and he was visiting LA. And it was a Pam moment. I had been single for too long. Yeah. It was too long, and I had had sort of a rough week, and I decided that there were two things that were pleasant to think about. I wanted to get a tattoo, which I'm still working on, and I wanted to get a date. So I announced that to the universe, and then, you know, nothing happens. You go about your day. And I went to my nutritionist's office, and there was one seat open in the living room. That's the third day of Dragoncon. In the waiting room. And there was a CD sitting on it. And so I said, is this, you know, seat taking? And I said, yeah. And the lady next to me said, no, you can sit there. And I said, is this your CD? She goes, yes, oh my God, they're amazing. And she went on and on and on. And I wasn't in the mood. And she kept talking. I realized I wasn't going to get out of talking to her. So I finally, you know, so what's your name? And I had a conversation about this CD, and eventually I started looking at the photo, and I went, that one's cute. What's the story? And she told me, oh my God, and, like, you know, rides a magic carpet. He was like 9 feet tall. Like, she clearly had a crush on the guy, but she pretended that she knew him. So I said, well, all right, well, ask that dude if he wants some coffee with me. And she backpedaled big time. She said, oh, no. Well, yeah, he has a girlfriend. I said, but you said he was single. Yeah, he smokes. And that is a bummer, but I thought, it's just coffee. And I said, well, it's just coffee. Just ask him if he wants some coffee. And she said, he's really high maintenance. And that's when I got it. I went, okay, thank you. So I went online to MySpace, and I went to iTunes, because if the music was bad, deal was on. Right? And they had one video on YouTube, and the song is Rain, and it's a very beautiful, romantic song, and he's so cute, and I listened to that CD, and I got a little cuckoo, I got a little stalkery. And so I went to MySpace, and I spent a couple weeks composing an email. Because there's a fine line between
stalker and
you know. And I was sort of trying to casually get in there, like I'm on this TV show. Like, but how do you? So I guess I don't know what I wrote. I'd love to have it now, and because I had no idea I'd be married to the guy, and so then I sent the email, and the band manager wrote me back and said to forward it to him. So a couple weeks go by, nothing. So I write another one. Like you do. And, you know, and I said, is he saying no? Did he not get the email? Or, you know, and the guy wrote me back, and nothing. So I sent it up. Because I'm looking at that video on YouTube. My girlfriend was like, stop looking at that video. I can't. And this song is just so, and if you go to my website, KristinBauer.com, you can hear this song. And so the third email, the guy said, oh my God, here's his phone number. Go away. So I picked up the phone and dialed the number, but I hadn't rehearsed what to say. I didn't realize I hadn't rehearsed, but he answered. Hello. Shit. I am Kristin. support the Earth Organization, which I know, the South African group, and so I tried to like elevate it to saving the world. So you like the environment. I like the environment, and maybe we could save something together. And he heard like I'm digging this hole, you know, and he got it, and he cut me off, and he said, "Let me tell you, I'm just gonna go." Like, yeah, and he has that gorgeous South African accent, and he said, "You're gonna come meet me for coffee," and I went, "I think you're right." So we haven't brought up the Earth Organization since, but we're married 6 months later. But he had never seen True Blood, and he didn't know what it was.
Well, what does he think now?
He loves it. He's a huge fan, and it's really sweet.
All right, we have a question from the audience.
What? Oh, well, I'm designing something. You'll see soon, probably not on the show, but on the red carpet. I'm working on it, but I don't know yet. Yeah, I will now.
Ichabod.
We've seen the shifters and the werewolves and Mary Ann's character. What other supernatural characters are going to be coming? Can you tell us?
Yeah, he's married.
You know?
Yeah, this book 4. We're going to get, I think we're going to get, Alan hinted we're going to get some big book 4 stuff, some witches.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some witch activity.
You'll see a hint in the finale.
Rebecca.
Hello. Aside from the story with Alex that you already said, is there any other bloopers or funny moments that you'd like to share with us?
That blooper reel that we had at the wrap party. You guys
That was funny.
Wasn't that funny?
Well, except I wasn't in it.
You're
all.
perfect. You're perfect. You're only in it if you mess
No,
up.
I messed up all the time, and I wasn't. So I don't like that reel. It's not a good one.
I wish they had.
Season 2 and 1 are really good blooper reels. The third one's so good.
I wasn't in season 1 and 2, so I don't remember those.
Ichabod.
This question's for Nelsan. I've read that you went to Juilliard school. I'm curious, first, if that's true. Second, how that prepared you for the roles that you've played since then.
Yes, that's true. Juilliard showed me how to be a disciplined actor and exactly how to prepare for a role and how to read a script. So it gave me an educational process whereby I probably would not be a sustainable actor without it.
If first off, I love you. I love your work. I love the show, and I really respect the works from the original books versus what y'all are doing with it. But my question is for Nelsan. Since technically, from the source material from the books, you would have ordinarily been killed at the end of the first season. How do you feel about extending your role the way that you've done to thank the fan base?
How do you feel about extending the role? Since Lafayette was supposed to die at season 1, but you managed to make him keep going and become such a fan favorite.
I like it. Just keep him in the job. I mean, yeah. Alan actually decided to keep me on before the show came out.
When you first read, was it 1 season?
Yeah, when they told me my contract was just for 1 season, and it was reoccurring at first. After the pilot, we changed it to a regular.
Wow.
And then decided to keep my character on, having not told me.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I remember going into the last couple episodes of the first season, you were like, I don't know if I'm coming back. I'm like, dude, you are coming. There's no way. No way. No possible way.
Alan did not tell me they would keep me on until after the table read of the 12th episode.
Yeah, he's waiting.
I was like, and then it was so kind of weird. He's like, oh, you know we're not killing you, right?
from each of you. Which one of your characters' lines are your favorite today?
Smite me, Emmer Effer.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite because what one? Oh, Tiffany's girl. See, I almost, I read the line and I think, oh God, that's a great line. And then I go and I shoot it, you say it 100 times in a day. And I think, oh, did I do it justice? Like, in my mind, it's such a great, incredible thing. And then actually executing it, there's no audience on the show. So, and we're all used to each other, so all you get is cut, all right, we're moving on. And if no one says anything to you and they move on, you just assume you did it well. And then it airs and I'm watching myself, which isn't comfortable. Whenever you see yourselves in your videos, your home videos, hear your voice on your answering machine, you're like, oh God, you don't know really what you look like or sound like. So then I come here and I go, oh, I guess my favorite is blah, blah, vampire emergency, blah.
My favorite line is actually something Bill says in the first season. He tells us, I can smell the sunlight on your skin. I love it.
That's great.
Next question.
Hi, Kristin, quick comment. I loved your line when you got blood on your shoes and were not happy about it. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And my question is for anyone who wants to answer it. Is there anything you'd like to see your character get to do or a particular scene you'd like to play in the future?
I'd like a flashback. Like how it was made. And period clothing, back 100 years ago. It'd be fun.
I'd like to maybe get some decent loving. Maybe have a relationship where I wasn't let off to be staked. Like a healthy relationship with a woman would be good. Or we really didn't consummate anything in the hotel room. I never went to the shower.
That might be your healthy relationship. You never know on this show.
Nelsan, along those lines, I'd really like to see more about Lafayette and his mother. Do you think they're going to explore that more in the next season?
I don't know. Miss Woodard has another job. She has another job with another television show.
That Three Rivers.
No, that's Memphis Beat. In which she's a strong leading regular. She was supposed to be in more of this season, but unfortunately, Memphis Beat doesn't want to share her. So, I don't know if I can convince her to quit her other job. You must. If not, you call somebody off.
All right, next question.
This one's for Kristin. Eric alluded to the fact that it's time for you to make somebody. Who would you like to make?
Both can be Tiffany girls.
Oh, can you imagine?
I don't know. Maybe. If you got the skills. Because I say that it's kind of tough being to do a human. I think I said that in the 10th episode of season 1 where I was talking about the rules. So I don't know, because they're not alive, but
It's a vampire turned into a vampire. And you
Oh,
see
okay,
it
the
be a
vampire.
shifter. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could be a vampire and a shifter.
That's almost like too much food on the plate, right? It's like almost too much.
That's
Too
greedy.
rich, yeah. It's greedy.
It's just,
Yeah.
All right, next question.
As actors, but also as ordinary people, what do you think about the political undertones of the series?
I like it because I think it creates a conversation, which I think is really good. So it's, and also, I don't know how much, if it's really changing anything or changing our viewpoints, which would be nice, you know, but it certainly gives the show a depth, you know, where you can watch it again and again and see new things, and it really makes it so layered and brilliant. You know, I'm a couple episodes behind, but Dennis O'Hara's viewpoint, the King's viewpoint on Earth, is actually arguably correct. You know, after he rips the guy's spine out, he's talking about how humans are ruining Earth, and if we want a food supply, we're going to have to take matters into our own hands. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. It brings in the environment and discrimination. And first season, when they were saying, you know, vampires have, you know, actually killed people, and Nan Flanagan says, hello. Everybody has. And then, in the last episode I saw, she's like, well, Jeffrey Dahmer has killed people, but I didn't see people going against humans. Like, it's really, really smart.
It is. I love it. I mean, I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest ideas that the show explores is the fact that you have these different forces in the same place and they have to live together despite their differences, whether they like it or not. So figure out how to get the fuck along.
That's perfect.
And that's the world.
That is the world.
That's the world.
Next question over there.
From the book's perspective, Sookie and Bill, or Sookie and Eric, sort of become the focus, and we really don't hear about a lot of the side characters, but in the show, they're given a lot more flesh and a lot more depth. How do you feel about, as the actors playing these characters, almost being more interesting than the quote-unquote main characters?
Well, you know, that's a good point. I guess if you were going to be totally loyal to the books, it would be a show that's just all about Sookie, because I think they're all, you know, sort of Sookie-centric. So, you know, it's great. The writers had to come up with, not just for side characters, but for, you know, main characters, you know, storylines in each season. And I was, you know, I was really concerned, because I remember the book 2, Sookie went off, and it was the first time we really had Sookie out of town, and she is the central character. So I was really concerned about, you know, what am I going to be doing at the bar, you know, and what's going to be happening at Bon Temps. I hope there's some stuff happening. And I was just really impressed about, you know, the Marianne storyline and all the ways that they really made it an ensemble. Because that was the real litmus test. That was going to, the second season was the real season where we were going to see how it was going to go, and they really made it an ensemble. And I think that's one of the great things about the show, is just that there's so many really interesting, there's so many different interesting characters that it's a true ensemble. It's kind of fun to go on to each other's paths.
It's a pleasant working environment too, when we both don't all work every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're really happy when you're going to work, and it's really hard for the leads of these shows, like Law and Order or something, because they're working Monday through Friday, 17
Yeah,
hours.
and they're doing 22 episodes or 21
Yeah.
episodes, and we just do 12, so it keeps it fresh. I mean, it's a bummer because it's a long time to wait, but the writing stays really good, and the actors stay fresh, and, you know, the whole thing kind of stays fresh.
And I think the other reason why the show is so great, there's many reasons, but we shoot 12 episodes in almost the same amount of time that a network does 22. So they'll do 9 days for 1 hour. We'll do like 16, right? I mean, so we're getting so much more time and so much more money for every episode to shoot it.
Yeah, I mean, just having the time to light something well takes a good bit of time. And if you're, you know, even a show, you know, a lot of really popular shows out there like Mad Men or like, you know, a lot of other shows, they only have like even less, like 7 or 8 days, and they have to just kind of crank. Mad Men's a great show, but a lot of shows really have to crank it out, and they just have to turn the lights around quick, and they can't get the, you know, they can't be moody, and it becomes less artistic when you don't have the time. And that's one of the great things that we have is that HBO's given us this time to make it look cool and do all the stunts and, you know.
It feels like we're shooting a movie on the set. It doesn't feel like we're on a TV show.
Next question.
Hi. You guys obviously bring a lot of personality of your own to your characters, but I'm wondering that when you're not filming, do you miss your characters? Are you at like the supermarket going down being like, I wish I could fight that person, or I wish I could you know, like even Lafayette, like I wish I could be as, well, you seem like it could be anyways, but eccentric, you know. Continue your role, you're supernatural.
I wish I could really shapeshift at work. I mean, that would be great. I never get to really do that, unfortunately. It'd be fun if I could. I don't know. If you guys, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like to get away from it a little bit, and then, you know, it's fresh coming back. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's true too. I mean, yeah, but now that I've been here talking about Pam for 3 days, I kind of miss her, and I look forward. Well, I think she is pansexual. You know, she really doesn't discriminate. She seems to be more towards women at this point, it's seeming. But over the years, you know, her 100 years, she was with men. She was with Eric. So I think she, whatever, would entertain her.
Well, I like to leave Lafayette on the set. It's funny because when you work an 18-hour day, and sometimes you know you're too tired to take the makeup off, you go home, wipe it off, and then you wake up the next morning and Tiffany like you switching. The character will sometimes linger, or you know I'll do something like that. And it's I'm sorry. That has never. This is my first time working on a TV show for so long, so it's my first time experiencing it. Did that happen to y'all with the character linger?
It does.
In your bones?
Well, I think you're thinking about it because you know, it's in your mind and you're thinking about how to do it better and ideas it's going to take and ways to play things. Something you just shot is still 2 days after you shoot it, you're like, oh, you know what I should have done?
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got the scene that's going to be playing in 10 days going. Because you don't just flip it on and off, you know? So it's sort of living there somewhere.
Next question.
Hi. My question is actually for Nelsan. Last season you did 2 scenes where somebody was yelling at you and you pictured Eric. In the one scene, obviously Eric was dressed as Bloody May. Who was on set and how hard was it to maintain a straight face?
It was very hard to maintain a straight face because Alexander in a dress. Him in a dress. What did you say?
Yelling at you during
Yeah.
the scene, so you standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah, in a dress. It was very, 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 very funny because he's an attractive dude, but in a dress, I don't know. And then it was hard for him too. Because he was so manly with his dress. So it was.
Like between takes, he's just kind of walking around with the guy.
Yeah, wide legs, you know, just sitting down.
Like, close your legs.
Man, scratch every now and then. And I'm sitting there trying to be scared. No, it was very hard. Especially, I don't know if you have this relationship with Alex, but we just have fun.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Like in every scene we have, it's hard to make it serious.
It is.
Because he's such a funny dude.
Yeah. He is so funny, and then also Stephen and Anna. Like, and it's like if this one last scene, I was waiting off camera with Stephen and Alex in a little space before we enter, and it's supposed to be dire, it's the finale. And we're just trying to stop laughing before we can walk in and face our possible doom, because they're just so funny.
Next question.
I'm a high school theater teacher, and all of my kids just love you guys so much. And Mondays are like, let's talk about True Blood Day. So what advice can I take back to my classroom for all of my teenagers that want to be professional actors like you guys?
God, that's a tough one, but I would say, don't get too stressed out about it, and just enjoy it and pursue it, but don't get too freaked out like this. Somebody like me, I didn't even, when I was their age, didn't even know that I wanted to do it and had never done it, and so they've got a good early start, and just enjoy it. Where are you in Georgia?
No, I'm from North Carolina, a really small town near Charlotte.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, it really, it does take a real thick skin to pursue the business because there's so much disappointment and there's so much rejection. But if you love it, you just keep doing it, and so there's nothing for them to worry about. They'll do it as long as they want to, and then they'll quit or they'll keep going. I mean, just sort of everything weeds itself out in the process. But it's really fun. I mean, I would encourage it because it's really, when you're working, it's just such a fun, great life, great time.
When you're working.
When you're working. When you're not, it's work. It's horrible.
All right, we've got time for one more quick question from the audience.
What do y'all do for fun when you're on camera?
Fun. Yeah, go ahead.
Dragoncon. Drink. No, I'm a big slam poetry buff. So I get into a poetry cafe and listen to some good poetry or say something. That's what I like to do when I'm down. Over some drinks. Because I like to drink.
I like to. I'm a Southern guy and an Appalachian guy in West Virginia and Louisiana. But I moved to California and I took up surfing, and so I like to do that. But it's really weird because the best time to go is in the early morning. Like really early morning, like Jaws is still out, like dark. So because the traffic is better then, and also the wind is in the right direction. It's offshore. So I frequently get up at like 4:30 in the morning or 5 in the morning and drive an hour to the beach, and then paddle out into cold, dark water. It doesn't sound any fun right now, but I like to do that. I like to go out and surf. No, it's too cold.
I like nature. So I like to do a lot of things, but the reviving things for me are always being out in nature, hikes, trees, water. My husband loves the water. We just went to South Africa for 2 weeks, and it was really beautiful.
And you paint as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do. That's incredibly reviving. And the opposite of acting, the complete opposite.
You say paint?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. And because you're alone, and with acting, we're a much smaller part of the picture than you guys can see, because we come in last. It's been written, the sets have been made, costumes, the makeup, the cameras. I mean, it's a huge team that we're a part of. And with art, it's just me. So, I mean, they give me a mark to hit, and if I don't say the line right, they give me help, and we have an enormous structure. But with art, it's just, sink or swim on my own, and also completely quiet, me and the dogs, and also, no makeup, my sweats, and so it's really, that's very reviving too. I love cats. I love all the furry critters and the non-furry critters, and I just love the beasts.
Well, we're just about out of time. I just want to ask y'all really quickly, when Charlaine Harris finally writes the last book in the series, I know the TV series certainly doesn't have to follow whatever ending she comes up with, but do you want to read it? Do you want to know how she ends the book series?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm a little bit behind. I've read the first 4. So, I'm going to keep reading them, for each season. But for sure, I definitely want to know.
Yeah, me too. I don't think we should make. I think we should end the television show before she writes the last book and turn the last book into a movie.